The New York Islanders made some trades these past couple of days, currently sitting in third at the Metropolitan Division at 63 points, looking comfortable at a playoff spot, but barring a collapse down the stretch. So I think it's time to talk about these guys because the Islanders were like the Nashville Predators of the Eastern Conference, like ever since the conference final runs they had a couple of years ago, they've just been like that mushy middle team. And we're going to talk to them how they keep doing this because at the end of the day, we didn't expect them to be at third spot in the Metropolitan Division, maybe flirting with the wild card spot. But I think let's just start off with two big reasons why they're at this stage. Number one, they won the draft lottery last year. And who was that guy they ended up getting? It was Matthew Schaefer.
And let's be honest, we didn't expect Matthew Schaefer to take this big of a jump in his first year.
We didn't have him as our finalist for our Calder Trophy. There were still questions that is this guy gonna be playing in the NHL this year, or would he go down to the juniors for one more year and come up?
Well, those freaking narratives have been shut down since
Canada.
since literally the start of the season because he has had Team Canada shouts and he could still potentially make it depending on.
People are saying right now that Canada might be regretting not taking.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, but yeah, he can still be in there depending on what Devon Toews and his situation is. But that's just obviously that part of it. Let's just talk about the Islanders part of it. Let's be honest here. The Islanders, the draft day, they traded away Noah Dobson, giving it kind of sent the message that they're giving the keys to the next franchise defenseman to Matthew Schaefer. And obviously he has lived up to that for sure. But it just felt like we were finally going to see the Islanders actually get into the rebuild mode and tear things apart because they obviously in the last few years they've been kind of stuck into contract lengths of to 2030, 2031, 2029 of guys who are late 20s, early 30s players, guys like Bo Horvat and Ryan Pollock, Adam Pelech,
Matthew Barzal.
Well, Matthew Barzal made sense because they gave that contract right away with the type of
Fair,
player he was.
I'm just saying in general.
That was the only one.
But contracts. I'm talking about just contracts lined up because Matthew Barzal deserved it.
But obviously, there's a lot of players that are locked up for a long time. So it just felt like we were expecting, especially from what we saw last year, them missing the playoffs because usually the few years before that they were the second wildcard team, right?
Yeah.
But now it felt like last year that they were going to be taking the step back, tear things down, figure out what they need to do, and obviously that was going to be led by Matthew Schaefer. But we didn't expect this guy to be like Macklin Salabrini and Connor Bedard to make an instant impact and literally turn the franchise around in 1 year.
They were. I'm not saying that how legit these were, but it wasn't clear cut Schaefer. There was small conversation. Can Michael Misa be the first guy off the board? Right. Thank God Islanders won this draft lottery, and because if San Jose ended up winning the draft lottery or even let Schaefer fall to number 2, you're telling me that Macklin Salabrini, who's looking like a generational star at this point, is going to be teaming up with the generational defenseman and Matthew Schaefer for the long run. Obviously, love it for Team Canada, but that division would have been that team would have been set with how they were going to be going. But to your point, Matthew Schaefer currently sits at 34 points in 52 games played. That's second on the team behind Matthew Barzal. Only reason why he's ahead of Bo Horvat at the moment is because Bo Horvat got hurt and missed a bunch of time because Bo Horvat has 33 points in 38 games. But like I said, step number one, it's not even just they moved off of Noah Dobson, right? At the time, we didn't know if Schaefer was going to be the pick or not, but obviously it felt like the way it went. You traded away Noah
moment
Dobson.
that trade away happened, yeah, it was the same day, so
exactly,
you kind of solidified who number one was.
Here's another thing that you're kind of seeing, they're still on a lot of these contracts for sure. So it was still there was still somewhat going to be a try to be competitive team, right? But one big move they also made that you didn't mention right now is Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson was traded at the deadline last year. They did not try to re-sign him or extend him during the year. They got a big haul out of that one as well, getting a young guy in Cal Ritchie who's been playing for them this year. I'm not going to comment too much about how his play because, again, I try to do my best to tune in as much as I can to the Islanders games because of Matthew Schaefer specifically and obviously guys like Bo Horvat who made Team Canada for a reason because they've been having good years. But overall, the first step to them not fully committing to now they might be... the first step now for having a nice resurgent type year is Matthew Schaefer's emergence off the bat. playing like Connor Bedard, playing like Macklin Celebrini on the defensive side of things, Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, if you want to go defense for defense comparison there, for the most part. But number 2 reason why this team has been really good is because it's not because they're scoring goals, because they are near the bottom of the league in goals scored. It's because...
Which is typical Islanders.
True. It is because Ilya Sorokin is back to playing like a Vezina candidate. He should be the Vezina favorite at the moment. And you could even argue he could be a Hart finalist. Obviously, it might still go to... The finalists might be Celebrini if they make the playoffs. McDavid and McKinnon. But I will not be surprised if this guy finds his way into the Hart conversation as well. Because with how amazing he has been playing for the Islanders. And it sucks that Team Russia has all that situation going on. Russia in general has that situation going on that we cannot see these guys in the Olympics.
Would he have made
a hard conversation?
Would he have made Team Russia?
He probably would have with the play he's been playing like this year.
Yeah, well,
it would have been him. I guess Shesterkin's hurt now, so that kind of helps the case. But if they were healthy, Bobrovsky, I'm sorry, you would be the one sitting out right now because I don't think Vasilevsky would be coming out either the way he's been playing.
Talking about Sorokin, obviously Sorokin the last couple of seasons kind of hit the struggle bus. Obviously, we knew the years before that, and obviously he earned his contract for sure. When he got extended a few years back, because we know that this guy is a stud type of goalie. This guy is a Vezina caliber goalie. But when Patrick Roy came in, he gave the keys to Varlamov instead of Sorokin. And then last year, Sorokin wasn't like terrible, but not necessarily the Vezina level goaltender that we expected him to be. But then this year, it feels like it's not even that he returned to form. It's like he's one-upped it. Because, like you said, he's one of the main reasons why that the Islanders are in this position. And honestly, the type of team the Islanders are and the type of goalie that he is, he has to be playing at this level for them to have success, right? For example, like a few years ago, like at the end of the day, no matter what the Rangers have, if Shesterkin's not playing good, you're not going to be a good team. Same thing with Nashville. If UC Soares wasn't playing good, they're not going to be a good team, right? Like those, at the end of the day, those are the main players. And right now, yes, I know Schaefer is going to take the keys of being the best player on the team, but what Sorokin's doing, if he's not playing good, the New York Islanders won't be sniffing a playoff spot. And the level that he's playing off has been absolutely exceptional.
Do you agree that he should be consideration for the Hart?
Considerations, yeah, but like it has to go to Macklin. If Sark should make it has to go to Macklin.
Yeah, I mean, in our opinion, obviously McDavid and McKinnon have a huge case as well, the years that they're having.
No, but the thing is, when you talk about value, you take Macklin away, and the next guy is like
40 points.
They're dead last.
Exactly,
in the NHL. They're gonna be with the Canucks.
We could obviously have a hard conversation later down the line,
but
then, I 100% agree with you.
You could have that case for Sorokin too. Like,
exactly.
You're not gonna expect the Islanders. Like I just said it, if he's not playing at that level, they're not be sniffing a wildcard spot right now.
The top 2 players in the world at the end of the day are McDavid and McKinnon. But here's the thing. McDavid, yes, down year Draisaitl, but still playing with Draisaitl. Still has a decent, solid defenseman in Bouchard, who's been playing amazing lately. McKinnon has Cale Makar, who's probably going to win the Norris. So if you're talking about value of your team, you have to give it to probably Sorokin or Celebrini, right? So again, whole different conversation for a different day, because at the end of the day, best player, most valuable doesn't always equal the same thing.
But that just highlights how good Sorokin has been this year, for sure.
Yeah.
And right now, you're probably gonna have the Vezina lock on your team, and you're gonna have the Calder lock on your team.
Exactly.
So which obviously just like that's like literally like franchise turning moment right there, getting your literal all-world goaltender back, and obviously getting a rookie sensation who's made such a level of impact. But to go on to more other players that have been playing well, you mentioned him before. He made Team Canada, and that's Bo Horvat. And obviously, right now, what we're seeing from Bo Horvat is every bit of his best hockey in his career.
Yeah, 21 goals, 12 assists overall. Like, his shot is one of the best in the league as well. Good win any face-off you pretty much want into, which is probably why he made Team Canada as well, to play that third, fourth line role, extra forward role, that he can come in and win a key face-off for them and get off the ice or even drive play, because he's done that. Obviously, Matt Barzal is going to be a good player regardless. So yes, 12 goals seems low for the guy, but 31 assists, 43 points in general. We know injuries have hurt him a little bit these last couple of years. But so the ultimate question comes down to this before we get into the trades they made. 63 points. We know how weird the year has been in the NHL, especially in the Eastern Conference, because if you look at both conferences, both divisions, the Metropolitan Division, if you look at it fully right now, yes, the Rangers are dead set. They're going to be the worst team in the East, no doubt about it. They're a team that obviously made a trade with the Islanders. The Devils are sitting second last in the division at 56 points. The fourth place team right now is the Flyers in the division. They're at 57 points.
Yeah.
So there's only a 7-point gap between the Devils and the Islanders in this case. Obviously, the Devils need to jump
So
teams in
wait,
here.
the Devils are seventh,
Yeah.
and then there's a 7-point gap from 7th to 2nd in the division.
Yes, because the Penguins,
Penguins are also
Penguins
tied,
have the
yeah.
tiebreaker on the Islanders at the moment at 63 points.
So that just shows you that, like, I mean, it has been the case for like all year, where like the Metropolitan, where you
And
look at
even
the
the
standings
Atlantic, to be fair, too, but yeah.
where you look at the standings one week, the second place team in the division becomes the 7th place team the next week.
Yeah, exactly. So my question to you is this. How sustainable do you think it is? How sustainable do you think it is as long as Sorokin is healthy? Can they make this playoff spot? Because at the end of the day, Washington is still not as good as a team as they were last year, but they can get hot whenever they want. I believe they have one of the top coaches in the NHL in Spencer Carberry. You obviously have New Jersey Devils, we're going to talk about later on in this video, who have a lot of question marks ever since the Quinn Hughes trade that affected them somehow, more so than the Canucks in a way as well. Do you buy into this? Do you think that as long as these guys stay healthy, this should be firm playoff spot? Because at the end of the day, they're sitting third in the division.
Yeah.
Right? So, they're yes, are they going to get into the wild card spot? That's going to be tough because Boston's at 65 points right now. But, so that means right now it's just looking like the key of getting in is the division.
This is probably the first moment of the season where we're finally seeing a little bit of separation in the Metro. So,
Yes.
obviously, they gave themselves a little bit of a cushion here, where it is going to take a mighty collapse to fall out of that the third seed of the Metropolitan Division. Well, technically tied for the second,
Yeah,
if you
because
think about it. Because like, at the end of the day, like as much as you're saying that second from 7th is a 7-point gap, third to 4th is still a 6-point gap.
Exactly.
So because of that, like they do have a cushion, and same with the Penguins, they do have a cushion. I do worry. Like I don't know what's going on with Devils. I'm not gonna say much about them, but if there's a team that I feel like can get hot, it's definitely the Capitals, because we know that, like especially coming off last year, like these guys were one of the top scoring teams in the NHL, and their goaltending was pretty good.
Still pretty good.
Still pretty good, and if they could regain that offensive form again, like that's what's gonna help them get hot, and then they could figure that out. Over here, it just feels like I have a little bit more belief in the Islanders than the Penguins.
Other teams that are out
Than the
right now.
Penguins. I'm talking about if I'm looking at those two, and the reason why is that if I'm just looking at it, like in my eyes, what seems more sustainable is that
Sorokin.
it's Sorokin.
I mean, to be
Like
fair,
for the Penguins, is like obviously I give them credit. Is a lot, but the main reason of their success is these old
Crosby.
players just turning back the clock.
I mean, Crosby's been.
And then
still
Crosby's
early.
been doing his thing, but the other old players also turning back
Yeah,
the clock, which
they
is
have a-
helping it out.
they have a
Because
cou-
Crosby, like, at the end of the day, even when Crosby is good, the Penguins still missed the playoffs, right? So for this one, like it just feels like the goaltending will bail you out.
Yeah.
Defensively, you're good, and you have enough players offensively when healthy to get the job done. I feel like for a regular season success, I think that will be sustainable for the rest of the year.
Yeah, like okay, so for Pittsburgh, like I do believe that this team should make the playoffs the way it's
Like,
rolling.
yeah,
as long as
like-
Sorokin's healthy, I'm
Yeah,
gonna make that
for sure.
clear.
Yeah, that's the big caveat here.
Yeah.
If Sorokin's level drops, or Sorokin, hopefully not, but gets injured.
I mean, good thing he has 3 weeks off.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
it's-
also true too.
Yeah.
But like if he's healthy and he's playing like how he's playing, then that's going to be the big key here. But I also feel like a big factor is going to be how this Olympic break is going to treat people.
Yeah.
Like how, like.
I mean, the
The,
Islanders.
like because Sorokin's been so good right now, is the Olympic break gonna ruin that for him?
But here's the thing: the
We don't know.
Islanders also don't have many players outside of Bo Horvat, I think, in the Olympics. If I'm looking at the roster correctly, right?
Yeah,
Like,
like Horvat's the only
it's
one.
just Horvat, and maybe Schaefer gets called up.
Yeah.
That's it. Like obviously, if Team Russia was a thing, we know Sorokin probably would have made it this year. But But the other thing was like with Pittsburgh. I mean, Dan Muse has something unlocked for them, new head coach for them. Obviously, the Stuart Skinner Jari trade right now is working. We'll see what happens if they do end up making the playoffs. Even for Pittsburgh, again, we didn't really get to talk about that trade too much. Obviously, we'll keep that for a little bit later down the line when we talk about the Oilers sometime. In future episodes here, which by the way, everybody should hit the subscribe button and post notification bell, because we'll be talking about other NHL teams as well during the Olympic break. And you guys do not want to miss if your favorite team is the team that we do talk about as well. But with the Islanders, a couple of things that did hurt their goal scoring a little bit. Paul Mary has only played 25 games. He's on the LTIR at the moment. Obviously, yes, he's 34 years old, but we know pretty how good of a player he can be offensively in the NHL. Defensively, obviously, a lot is relied on Sorokin because a lot of that is because Alexander Romanov has been placed on LTIR as well. And obviously, he's been a steady defenseman for them ever since he got acquired. I believe from Montreal, from the Montreal draft, the draft that happened in Montreal as well. But let's talk about a couple of trades they made, and one of them is Carson Soucy. This is the fourth trade you've seen between New York and New York teams in NHL history. Carson Soucy for a third-round pick. Here's the thing. This is my question I'm going to ask you. We already saw the contracts. I mean, he's a pending UFA, so keep that in mind at $3.25 million. We seen the contracts they have locked up a lot from a lot of these guys for till 2030, 2029, whatever the case might be. Do you think the Islanders should be making moves like this, or should they just had run it off? Or do you think that because the Eastern Conference being so wide open, Tampa Bay, as of right now, is a team to beat because we don't know if Florida's even going to get in, that they might as well just go for it a little bit as long as it's not a risky move and do not extend this guy 5 years or something like that, which I think they shouldn't be able to with the cap anyways.
Yeah, with this one, the UFA part is a huge factor in here.
But giving up a third.
That is quite a bit for Soucy, who has been, he's a good defenseman at the end of the day.
But
when
he
he's
hasn't
on
been
his
the
game.
same as his first year with the Canucks.
Exactly. He hasn't been that guy for quite a bit now. But, yeah, I'm not necessarily worried about the contract or the $3.3 million, but obviously a little bit of the third-round pick being gone. But, hey, they're a good team. The third-round pick might not be as valuable to them at this moment just because they are so high up in the standings.
And in the playoff spot, too.
And in the playoff spot. So that could also be another factor. But, yeah, so,
don't love getting up a third, but don't mind getting a player like that.
yeah, at the end, it's not like it's not like Soucy's going to be this, big guy that's going to take him to a level that they're not ready for type of thing, type of vibe. At the end of the day, it's still the same look, the same Islanders look that was before the trade.
For me, it's as long as you don't make this a habit, because obviously the next day they made another decent
Which
trade.
kind of is the old bad habit.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're running Matthew Darche was doing good originally, but then I'm kind of falling into it. Oh my God, we're good now. Should we make trades type thing? Hopefully, it's just this year they're in a playoff spot. Whatever, they gave up a third-round pick. Again, I think that's still risky to give up. I don't know what their prospect pool is like in general. Obviously, we know who the best. No, I guess this year he's still considered a prospect because he's going to be winning the Calder anyways. But going forward, we know who the best young guy on their team is overall. But that was where my concern came in from the Islanders. I'm why are they making trades like this? We said about the Phoenix Suns in our NBA episode that they don't need to make trades, right? Just let it run out and see how it goes. Same thing with these guys, but I guess it helps that he's a UFA for these guys. And on the Rangers side of things, very quickly, listen, they already said they're the worst team in the East. They already said they put out a letter out there. They're already sitting Panarin out so trade is looking like to happen. So it looks like they are on the retool type of thing. So good on them for at least trying to make moves and not try to double down and use that asset they got for Carson Soucy and to get someone else for them. It looks like they are going to stay put and see what type of package they could get for Timmy Panarin. But going back to this Islanders team, another big trade they made was the Andre Palat from the New Jersey Devils. These guys made rivalry trades these last 2 days. It was essentially for a prospect, but they also got Andre Palat, a third-round pick this year, and I believe a future sixth as well. Overall, I think the New Jersey Devils were trying to just offload.
They're trying to get rid of Palat. Yeah.
They got it done. They obviously had to give up future assets, right? This year's third and next year's, or the year after's sixth-round pick, I believe. I'll double-check the trade. But there's no salary retention as well. So this move,
he's being $6
move,
right?
The one thing is that
$6 million?
$6 million,
Yeah.
He has this year left, and then he has one more year before he's a UFA overall.
And this is where I get a little bit confused.
This is where the old Islanders are back.
Yeah, the old Islanders are back, paying guys in their early 30s, and obviously, but this one is it's not as long term. It's only this year and next year, which is not terrible, but still, I would just that I just don't know how to feel about this trade in terms of the things that you're just trying to get away from. They kind of, or it should be getting away from, they're getting back into with this trade. And it's not like Andre Palat has been the Tampa Bay Andre Palat,
yeah, he's
right?
not been good for these guys.
He hasn't been good for the Devils these last few years. So
again,
maybe he turns back the clock a little bit. He does something for them and helps them get in the playoff and makes a playoff push. But this one, I just felt I didn't feel great about just because they're going back to those old habits.
Yeah.
It does help that like
They got
you
two assets
picks,
out of
yeah.
it, right? Like, so
You
it's
also-
this year's third and next year's sixth.
Yeah.
In exchange for Maxim.
So technically you
Tispalakov,
technically
don't
you
know
sh-
much about him.
Technically
but-
you should be upgrading your third round pick.
Yeah, I mean, I
If you're looking at the result of
they
both
could have gotten
trades.
more for, I guess, more than a third in this case, because you saw how desperate the Devils were trying to trade him, and then we're gonna talk about the Devils in a short minute, a couple of minutes here. But overall, yeah, it's like, at the end of the day, I get it. You're trying to make the you're in the playoff spot. You're trying to firm that playoff spot and try to maybe make potential cup run. Even though I don't think you're at the level of Tampa, or if you not God forbid, for your sakes, do get to the Stanley Cup final, that any of the top Western Conference teams, that you'll be able to beat them. But one thing I think I want to see these guys do, their pending UFA is J.G. Pajot, John Gabriel Pajot, 33-year-old right shot center. They also have Anders Lee, but I feel like he's not going to get traded because he's their captain at the end of the day. At $7 million is going to be off the books. Maybe he'll come back on a cheaper deal next year if he continues to play. Even though 35-year-old, he might be playing, but we don't know what his mindset is at. But J.G. Pajot, I think, is a guy that you should try to move. At the end of the day, he's a pending UFA. I understand. I don't know what his numbers have been. I remember the old J.G. Pajot, who was really, really good. But obviously, at this point, he's not the same guy. While I pull up his stats, I think they just free up the $5 million, and because you're gonna have the $6 million on your books next year, anyways, and try to get something out of J.G. Pajot. Maybe that is obviously Andre Palat is not a center, but at the end of the day, I feel like you should try to move off of him, just because, like, at the end of the day, you need to look yourself in the mirror and still say you guys are not a cup-winning team. J.G. Pajot's at 21 points at 44 games. Anyways, it's not like he's going nuts for you guys. Again, I don't know how his non-scoring numbers are like, but from what I'm seeing from Mike Bartner, obviously a guy from Bleacher Report who's a big Islanders fan, who does a lot of his stuff on YouTube that we do watch, he says himself, trade this guy, there's no point, because he wasn't a fan of the Palat trade, except
They
they avoided total disaster class with the Palat trade.
Yeah.
Now they should move off of J.G. Pajot.
Yeah, it's just things that, like, at the end of the day, you just gotta be brutally honest at where you're really at. And at the end of the day, centers are scarce in this league.
Scarce, yeah.
So J.G. Pajot could be useful for someone, but at the same time, I don't know how much they're trying to stay put and like push it this year. But at the end of the day, they shouldn't be get rid of your UFAs that you're not gonna get. Like, Anders Lee, understandable, he is a captain, so it makes sense. But like J.G. Pajot, I'm not saying there's no need for him on your team, but at the same time, he's not your future.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like that's basically for the Islanders. At the end of the day, we are surprised that the Islanders have been this good, but at the same time, they're not ready.
Yeah.
They're not ready for all of this yet. All of this success. They're arriving too early. It's like you're looking at it. They're kind of outperforming
Expectations.
They're outperforming their expectations, but like outperforming who they really are,
Exactly.
or who they are in this moment.
But I did mention, I do want to close out on talking about the New Jersey Devils, who did trade Andre Palat. Started off the year hot and went down the drain. Jacob Markstrom has not been good for them. The only reason why he ended up making Team Sweden is because Linus Ullmark was away, and who also hasn't been amazing as well. We know that the Minnesota tandem is going to be probably goalie 1 and 2 for them. Jack Hughes, finds ways to get hurt. Like, I don't know how he gets hurt in a restaurant. It's crazy to me still, the luck that guy has. Luke Hughes ends up getting hurt now, obviously entered late. But I feel like the whole Quinn Hughes drama, trade drama from the Canucks side of things, somehow affected the Devils, because all you hear Devils fans are saying, oh, we're getting Quinn Hughes. That could still be 100% right when he's a free agent. But the way Quinn Hughes is looking like in Minnesota right now, he looks happy. He's in a good spot. Minnesota are obviously just maybe 1 or 2 centers away from being a legit contender, in my opinion. But like the way they've been rolling a top 3 team in the Central Division, it's like still mind-boggling to me that like how teams are not willing to give up more for Quinn Hughes. I don't give a shit that he's becoming a UFA. There's no extension in place. He's Quinn freaking Hughes, and he wanted to probably play with the brothers. He wanted to join New Jersey, and he couldn't up the offer that Minnesota did. And Minnesota's offer compared to the others were really good. Zeev Buyam should be a top pairing defenseman. Obviously not at the level of Quinn Hughes, but a top pairing defenseman. You get a pick out of it. You're obviously have Marco Rossi, a solid center, and Liam Ogren, another young guy to build off of. I'm sure other teams could have matched, if not done more to that. I look at Detroit in this case as well, but Detroit's doing fine. I'm not going to do much. This is about the Devils.
This is about the Devils. It is just basically you're looking at a situation like the Devils are a team. Like this is the Devils. Like they're a team that's up and down, right? They're gonna have their ups and downs, in their season, and obviously they're on a pretty bad stretch in this moment. But it just like you said, you're not gonna be in this situation if you had Quinn Hughes on your team. It's just simple as that. So they kind of screwed themselves over because at the end of the day, like we all mentioned here, this guy's a serious stud. He was gonna help your team, no matter who was injured or who was on the ice.
Yeah.
Right. And you didn't go all in for that. It just doesn't make sense to me, especially where your team is at. Like you're a team that obviously has committed to Jack Hughes, has committed to Quinn Hughes, has committed to Timo Meier. Luke Hughes, yeah. didn't commit to Quinn Hughes, which just makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like have committed to Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, like talented players, right?
Jesper
Bratt, like good talented players, good solid little core here. And you refuse to add to that and make it better. It just makes no sense to me. You're in a team. You're a good, like on paper, you're a good team in a, I won't say necessarily a weak division because the Pacific is actually like god awful, but not the strongest division in the NHL compared to like Atlantic and the Central.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense to me how you weren't able to sacrifice some good future players or picks to get this guy. It just like this is their own doing. And literally like we know the Devils are up and down team. That's how they've been the last couple of years. So this is their own doing, and they just messed it up. They messed up the whole situation.
I do need to cut you off here. The thing also that shot themselves in the foot is not just getting Quinn Hughes. It's because they were trying to move Dougie Hamilton, who has 2 more years after this year at $9 million per year, and obviously Andre Palat, because they didn't have the money to bring in Quinn Hughes, essentially, and even probably give an extension. That's where they hurt him. And the reason where they also got hurt is because a lot of these guys have trade protections, so there'll be no moves, no trades. I think they're the team that has most of those in the NHL. We know the Canucks have them. Every team has those guys at the end of the day to get deals done because that's what the PA negotiated, and it's going to be tough to give away at the end of the day. Because for me, I think it's dumb. I like the NBA way. Like the only people that should be getting no move clauses are like guys at the level of LeBron or certain guys that were loyal to the team for long enough and stuff like that, right? So for me, like at the end of the day, that's where they shot themselves in the foot. That's where people were wanting to fire Tom Fitzgerald. That's where, there was once upon a time when we were gonna plan to make this video, but we had to shift to different ways a couple of weeks ago when they lost. It wasn't 9-0, where they shot so many times, but they kept Jacob Markstrom in the net. To the point where like Sheldon Keefe's job might be in question now. People want Tom Fitzgerald fired because there was literally a chance for you to get Quinn Hughes, and you couldn't do that because of the contracts you gave out. Can't move Dougie Hamilton. You scratched Dougie Hamilton, or Sheldon Keefe, or whatever, whoever decision ended up being overall. And then now he's playing back again because obviously Luke Hughes being out doesn't help with that factor. Overall, like again, can this team get hot and make the playoffs? Sure. But I think the way they're going, we know the Canucks are dysfunctional as hell. We know the Rangers are dysfunctional as hell. You could say that neck up there with them, the Devils have at least a dysfunctional period this year and might be still somewhat of a dysfunctional franchise with how stuff rolled out for them. Because at the end of the day, a talented roster like this, and you were not able to get a guy like Quinn Hughes in because either A, you're not able to move off these guys, or B, you were not able to match what Minnesota matched, is still mind-boggling to me at the end of the day. So to end off this all video, final question for you. Do you see the New Jersey Devils getting into the playoffs?
No, man. They're not showing me anything. That just makes sense. Like at the end of the day, there's no, it doesn't, for teams like this, they got to show you some glimmer of hope. And right now, them and the Rangers in the Metro have none of that, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. So it pretty much wraps it up for us. Obviously, a good side of view of what the New York Islanders have been like this year. These trades they made. Talk slightly about the Rangers and Devils here. We want to hear your thoughts down below. What you guys think of the New York Islanders? What do you guys think of the New Jersey Devils? Please hit the subscribe button. We appreciate everybody's support so far. We're on the road to 200, and we would love to hit this. Near month end. Hopefully this video pops off. It'll be because of you guys. We appreciate you guys. Like this video, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.